get you out of here on time. Hey, if you've got this part of the video, you've got the live unedited edition. Home Gadget Geeks Thursday night. It's the 16th of November. It's 2023. It's 8 p.m. in the Central Time Zone. If you've got that any other time than that, you've just got the recorded version on YouTube. Hang tight. We're going to get started in just a moment. As with tradition, for the live folks who are joining us coming in, there's a bunch of you out there. John, Tony, Brian, Kevin, and did I see Ken earlier? No, not yet. Thanks for checking in. Producer Bob is out there as well. Bob, good to see you. Erin Lawrence is with us. Erin, great to see you. Welcome back.
Hello, Jim. Always good to be back on the show. Nice to see you.
It's great to have you. You're our biggest fan, and we're your biggest fan. So it's always great to have you on, and it's always great to walk through. We're going to spend some time walking through some of the things you've been talking about, but first we need to talk about the pour or our cocktails. So what are you sharing or what are you drinking tonight?
I decided to go vodka martini tonight with 2 olives.
Oh,
because snacks.
Splurge.
Yeah, and it looks a lot fuller than it is, but I did toss some crushed up ice in there just so that I'm not getting,
yeah,
too martinied on the podcast.
No, right on. I got you. Do you have a vodka that you are particular to, or is it kind of whatever's tasty?
There's kind of 3 I rotate between. I like Smirnoff, actually. I think a lot of people knock on Smirnoff, but I quite like it. I like Tito's quite a bit, and I like
Tito's.
Kettle One.
Yep.
Those are kind of my 3, and I'll just rotate between them. Whatever's on sale, to be honest.
Yeah, Tito's real popular in the United States. Really popular.
So popular.
Yeah. Whatever they've done right at the mass marketing level. And decent vodka. I mean, listen, there's not a lot of taste in vodka to begin with, right? So.
Fair enough. Although a lot of the new vodkas I find have like too much taste. It's almost like they're going for that. I don't even know what it would be, like herby flavor profile.
Almost like a gin.
I don't like.
Like a gin.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like if I wanted that, I would drink gin. So.
And then, of course, infused vodkas are super popular right now, right? So
I think we've talked. Didn't we talk about how you can infuse your own vodka with a sous vide machine? Maybe we'll save that for another episode.
We should do an episode at some point all on cocktails, right? On how to use tech gear to make cocktails, something like that.
Oh my gosh. And there's so many of those bar machines now too, right? So you can have computer tech assistants for your cocktails.
Yeah, it's a couple comments coming in. Brian says it's a potato and olive salad for you, Erin.
That is kind of what it is. I like looking at it that way. It's healthy.
John says it's a healthy alternative for you. Producer Bob says, I love that the Big Tito's comes with a built-in handle, and some of the rums do as well. Uncle Marv's checking in saying, hola. Nathaniel, good to see you.
Hey, Marv.
And he wants to know why I should buy a Samsung frame TV. Don't you have a frame? Did you get a frame TV?
I do. I'm on my second frame TV now.
Yeah.
I had to have the newest model, so I got rid of the old one and bought the newest one.
Yeah.
Oh, Nathaniel, we could talk. This could be a whole nother episode again.
Oh, maybe I have to have you back, or we can bring it up.
Yeah.
I would always, if it's but it has to be on all the time, right? For the art to show on there.
It does, but there's a setting. There's like a motion detector setting, so the TV will actually power off, and if it detects motion in the room, it'll spark up the art mode again. And it's so fast, especially the newer version, the 2022 version, that most of the time I don't even see it coming on. I'll just sort of enter the room and look, and it's already on. So that helps.
Yeah. Kind of always wondered if they'd go with like an e-ink technology where right, because that's low power. You get not very good resolution, to be honest, but low power for sure, right?
And you want to have that really good resolution for the art. So
for sure. Brian says hello.
Hello,
I hope that everyone's having a great day. Nathaniel checking in. Ken's there. So Erin comes on and everybody shows up. Appreciate that.
Hey!
You guys, thanks for coming out. All the regulars anyways. So I'm not giving up on Oktoberfest. I know it's November and I know Oktoberfest is technically September, but they're getting rid of all the Oktoberfests, and I'm a cheap beer drinker. So I have Goose Island Oktoberfest, which is really, really delicious. And then for some reason on the way home today, I just said, I need some Old Barton 1792. So I poured myself a little whiskey as well, which is just, it's one of my favorite whiskeys. 1792, about $30. That'd be $150 in Canada of bourbon. and it's just super tasty. And I haven't had any in a while, and so I thought I just went down to Baker's, our local grocery store. I just picked some up, and I was like, you know what, doing a little whiskey tonight. So that
Have
is
we
what.
talked about the espresso Manhattan?
No, but tell me the details on this
It
quickly.
sounds like a cocktail you wouldn't want to drink, and
Okay.
I refused to try it for many weeks, and then finally broke down. But it's bourbon. Let me get this right: bourbon, a little bit of red vermouth, sweet vermouth,
Mm-hmm.
bitters, half an ounce of Kahlua, half an ounce of cold espresso,
Mm.
and shake it up. Serve it. You can serve it on straight up or on the rocks, but you wouldn't think espresso and
Well,
bourbon go together,
yeah. No.
but it's so good.
Yeah, they're actually
It's so
good.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, we did some, my son and I, we did some where we would get a coffee stout, and then we would brew some unleaded or some
Mm.
decaf coffee, because we're doing this at night. You go coffee, stout, bourbon, in that order. Sip,
Okay.
sip, sip.
Yeah.
We had some beef jerky too along with that, so that was like we would go, dun, dun, dun,
This
dun.
is starting to sound like a weird
No,
combination.
soup, like you said, like that doesn't sound
Right?
very good.
Yeah.
Kind of super tasty, you're
Yeah.
kind of like, at the end you're thinking, that was super good. So producer Bob says 17.92 if you're not wrong about Canadian prices. I think it's like 80 or 90 here. That's too bad, Bob, because I just picked it up at the most expensive place here in town, and it was 30. So I can get it sometimes a little bit cheaper at some of the big box stores. So
There's no such thing in Canada as cheap liquor,
oh,
sadly.
well, unfortunately, that's no, I understand. You have other benefits of living in Canada.
That is true. I
Yeah.
can't deny
Yeah.
that.
No, this surgery that I'm gonna have in December is gonna be like $1 million by the time we're
Oh
done.
my
Well, I
gosh.
mean, it's
I
gonna
hope
be,
you're insured.
for sure. But we still have high deductibles, and they'll be, $6,000
Oh,
of out of
right.
pocket or something like that. So
That's your deductible?
I think it's 3 individually and 6 for the family, something like
Okay.
that. So, but then
That's not
I
insignificant.
know that's still a little bit of money. So
Yeah.
it's you guys have some benefits up there. So some apparently cheap liquor, benefit of living in America. Oh, America.
There are always trade-offs.
There it is. I've got America right there. So good. Okay, let's get started. I want to get you here out of the top of the hour, and we got a lot of stuff to cover. So let me do it. Here we go. This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks, show number 591 with guest Erin Lawrence, recorded on November 16th, 2023. Here on Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in a beautiful Bellevue, Nebraska, although we could use a little rain. Erin, have the fires stopped up in Canada? Are you guys still... Are you guys okay? Are you okay?
It stopped burning just in time for it to start snowing. So
Okay.
we just got our second snowfall of the year last night, and
Thank goodness.
minimal this time, but yeah, like we were saying, trade-offs.
Yeah. Are they out? Are most of the fires out up there, or are
I
there still
think
some hot
most of
spots?
them were out by about mid to end of August. It seemed
Okay.
to quiet down quite a bit, but it
Good.
was a really dry
Yeah.
year,
Oh, terrible
unusually
fire
so.
season for you guys. I mean, terrible.
Mhm.
We're glad it's over for now. Hopefully, we'll not repeat that again next year, right? I mean,
We'll
Canada
see what
can.
the year brings between
Uh,
the atmospheric river or the Pineapple Express and the all those weather
oh,
systems that
El
push the weather up and
Nino,
El
El
Nino, La
Nina.
Nina.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see what happens.
Who
I have to
knows?
break out my
Who
farmer's almanac or something.
Who knows? Well, we'll post the show with some world class show notes, and Erin's got a bunch of links, and you want to follow them out to her site a little as you're going out there, out at theaverageguy.tv. Big thanks to Ed Sullivan, who joined us last week. Ed says he buys something every time you're on the show, so we'll have to figure out what he's going to buy tonight from you.
Right.
Well,
What
not
did he get
from you,
last
but
time?
we got a vacuum cleaner. I think that was 2 times ago.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I
I
don't
think that's true.
I think it was, yeah, and I forget the last time, but he says if Erin says buy it, he has to buy it. Isn't that nice? Isn't that
Thank
nice,
you.
Ed? Ed
That's
was
very
on
nice.
last week, and of course, Big thanks to Ed who came on. He had some interesting stuff. If you haven't checked it out, go back and look at it. Big thanks to our Patreon subscribers as well. If you want to join the team and if you find value in the podcast and you want to give back, head out to theaverageguy.tv/Patreon and get that done as well. Erin Lawrence is back. Erin, it's always great to see you. You're the most popular guest we have every single year. Thanks for coming back and welcome back.
Really?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
that really actually does warm my heart. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's my pleasure to be here. I always have such a good time on your show. I'm happy to be a guest.
Well, and we were talking about Ed, but Brian says it may be an expensive night tonight. You never know. You always talk about some great stuff. Of course, techgadgetscanada.com is your site. Last time we chatted with you, we spent a little time talking about Temu, and you had said you're going to start kind of trying it out, checking it out, because it seems too good to be true. It seems like, right? So catch us up. I thought we'd start with this since we ended with it last time you were on here.
Right.
Catch us up.
That was a long teaser then for your audience.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it was
folks.
a while. No. I got some right afterwards. I got some feedback and they were like, "Oh, don't go there." And some were like, "Oh, it's fine." So what did you find out?
I think it honestly depends what you're shopping for and what your expectations are. So if anybody's listening and they're not familiar with what Temu is, Temu.com, which is Temu.com, is essentially an Amazon clone. So lots of cheap goods that you can find at bargain basement prices, we'll say. So I had heard about the site. I was sort of getting pitched from the company to check out their site and buy some of their things and try it out. And I looked at the site and I thought, wow, like it's very loud, it's very colorful, it's very in your face. So I didn't end up getting anything at that time. And I sort of sat on it and had enough people ask me questions about it that, is it worth it? Is it any good? What can you get on Temu? So I thought, you know what? I'll spend a few bucks. I'll spend $100, which was my budget, and buy some stuff off Temu and report back, tell everybody what they're getting, what you can expect. And I decided to stick with tech devices, so gadgets, speakers. I ordered 2 speakers that look essentially identical, like identical to JBL speakers, but they're under a different brand name. I chose a pair of what look like AirPods, again, identical to AirPods. I had them side by side and I actually had to keep the wrapping on the Temu AirPods, which are called ear pods, so that I could tell them apart. So I decided, okay, let's get these, see what we get, see what they look like. And it took about, I want to say it took a few weeks for things to arrive, but things arrived just fine. I was able to go online, pick out what I wanted. The prices were, of course, dirt cheap. I mean, my ear pods, I think, were $9.99. So some would say you're probably going to get what you're paying for. And if I can spoil ahead a little bit, I did get what I paid for.
Okay.
So I ordered the 2 speakers, and I mean, I think they were $15 or $20 a piece. The sound quality was not good. I mean, if you wanted something for, your kid's bedroom that you didn't mind if they dropped it in the sandbox or whatever, it would probably be just fine. If you wanted it to actually enjoy music or sound, the speakers would not cut it. So the speakers were not great. The ear pods never worked. I tried to connect them to my phone. I tried to connect them to an Apple phone, to an Android phone. There was a little insert in the package that says they'll work with any phone no matter what. Didn't work with any phone. Could never get them to work. So those were complete junk. And then I also ended up getting what I was kind of led to believe was a bit of an ambient like backlight for my studio. And it arrived and it was kind of this weird, like 2 light posts wired together with a USB plug, and they weren't bright at all. So I mean, they weren't a backlight, they weren't even an ambient light. I mean, they lit up themselves, but they weren't throwing out any kind of light. So again, they weren't suitable for what I was intending to use them for. So all in all, I decided everything's going back. It's all kind of it wasn't the quality I was hoping for. Again, I wasn't surprised.
Mhm.
So I filled out the form, asked them to take it all back, packaged it back up, and they gave me my money back.
Mm.
So I was at least really impressed about that. They issued the refund almost immediately. Everything went back. And like just as I was wrapping up my reviews, I realized I think it was the ear pods all of a sudden disappeared from the site because somebody must have
Ah.
realized, these don't actually work, so we
Yeah,
should probably
yeah,
not be selling them.
yeah, yeah,
So a couple of the listings vanished and, it's like
yep.
it's a bit like whack-a-mole, I think. They pop up as one listing and then people buy it and maybe it's a problem, so then it pops up as another listing somewhere else.
I kinda think of it like a Chinese market where, vendors are allowed just to kinda come in and
Mhm.
anybody can kinda bring their stuff in and post it
Yeah.
there. They're taking a cut of it, but there's no way for them to do quality checks on all of this. Was Alibaba Did you ever order from Alibaba? Were they kinda
I
similar
I
to
think
this?
I've ordered one thing from Alibaba one time,
Okay,
a table, and it arrived quickly. It was pretty good quality. I was
okay,
happy with it. We still have it. So, that was the first and only time though, because Alibaba, I think, tends to be for larger
okay,
orders or
okay.
multiples.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so, probably it's a no. Unless you're trying to get something, this may be a space, like party things could be good for this,
Yes.
right? Where "Hey, I need 500 cups for like a nickel,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
And
think disposable things
yeah,
honestly would
yeah,
probably be really great.
yeah,
Or, party favors for your kid's birthday party, or you're throwing a Christmas party at work and you just need some speakers to put some sound around, the office or something, and you don't really care what happens to them after that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think you got to be careful. I like I said, I was glad that I did get my money back and there was sort of no questions asked about that. They weren't trying to give me the runaround or anything
Right,
like that.
right.
So, in
I
terms
think
of honest business practices, that was fine. Just the quality of the goods for me wasn't there.
Yeah, I think they're trying. It's just they're relying, I think, on vendors, and it's gonna be, I mean, Amazon does something similar, but I think there's probably
Mhm.
maybe a little more quality checks that go into Amazon, or they're getting
Yeah.
better equipment. But you see on Amazon a ton of those kinds. Like, I went to order a drill bit, like a 3/4 inch,
Mhm.
17-inch, pretty specialized kind of drill bit. There's like 7 different kinds that all names you don't recognize. These aren't Ace Hardware
Right.
or
Yeah.
Home Depot brands. You're not
Yeah.
getting Craftsman or DeWalt, right? You're getting Nevin. You're like,
Yeah.
Who's Nevin?" So I think
Or
some
brand names that aren't words necessarily. They're just kind of a string of letters, I find.
yeah,
Random.
right?
I have to put something in this field. I don't know.
Yeah, and it looks exactly like it. It may come from the same
Yeah.
exact factory in the US markets,
I'm sure it
and
does.
we can
Yeah.
add Canada, I think, to in North American
Mhm.
markets. So US and Canada, we probably see a lot of that where it's a factory. It could even be the same factory where they're coming out, but it's got a different name on it, sold through a different channel, so to speak. So the prices may not be there, or, DeWalt in the US. And I'm seeing now my internet's having some trouble. So if I'm breaking up on you a little bit, I'll come back and let you do most of the talking. But DeWalt gets a special price here in the US just because it's that name brand. Sometimes you can get the off brand, and it's the same thing. It's just it
Yeah.
carries a different name right on that
Yeah.
wall. So will you shop Temu for more disposable stuff in the future, knowing that maybe that's the way to do it, or are you just going to go local for that kind of stuff?
I think I'll just go to the brand. I thought, there might be some benefit for my audience and for readers and viewers of the YouTube channel if they were interested in some of this tech and I could try it out and, give them a definitive review. But I think I might wait on it. I asked my audience, do you guys want me to order some more stuff and try this again and see if there's a different result or see if things are improving? And kind of universally everybody just said, "No,
Yeah.
leave it alone, give it time, and maybe next year. So maybe I'll do that again. It'll be an annual Temu order, and we'll just see what changes or what improves.
You can do like we spent $100 at Temu for 2023, and then next year it'll be for 2024. I see a lot of sites, a lot of blog posts like
Exactly.
that. Buying a TV in
In
2023,
20
whatever. Some
good
comments
SEO.
coming in, yeah, from the chat. Uncle Marv says maybe swag for a conference, and that maybe
Mhm.
if you wanted to get some of those kinds of things you knew you were going to give away or whatever,
Great idea.
to do that. Kevin says everything on Temu looks a lot like knockoffs. They seem to imply that the devices are made at the same factories as the name brand. The headphones look a lot like Bose, but they're not. You showed that speaker on your video. You have a YouTube video that we'll post the link to in our show notes if you want to go
Mhm.
out and watch Erin's full review on that. But it looks like a JBL speaker, almost identical to a JBL speaker, right? But it was like TNC or something along
Yeah,
those
the
lines,
only
right?
thing different on it's the emblem. Although I do
Uh,
wonder if they're not, maybe it's the person or the company that's manufacturing like the case, the outside,
yeah,
and then the guts are they're getting them from wherever, because the
right.
speaker quality was just so bad
Ugh,
that, I mean, if it sounded like JBL, I would have thought, okay, I could maybe
yeah,
get behind
yeah,
this under a different label,
yeah.
but
Well, Bose and JBL are going to be licensed products, so
mhm,
they're just taking something off. But the cover, whoever makes the cover, maybe
mhm.
they have those are made in China.
Yeah,
JBL makes them in
yeah,
China, but they
yeah.
can buy the covers and then just replace the emblem, that's on there. Tony says, are there rumors about them selling your data? I am sure they're selling your data, right? You wouldn't think. Did you use a separate credit card or any of those? Like, did you take any measures?
Uh-huh.
Maybe not.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And then I guess they've got my address. There was a funny part. I swear I did not give them my phone number because
Mm, mhm,
they don't
mhm,
need my phone
mhm.
number, and I don't generally give out my phone number for any reason. Um, but I did start getting texts out of nowhere from Temu updating me on my order, and I
Yeah,
thought, "How do you have my phone number?"
yeah,
Because I have a fake number that I put in for almost all of that stuff. And, yeah, so I was like, "I don't know how they got the
yeah.
number." So,
Some good data mining, probably some good CRMs. It's probably shown up
cross-referencing.
out there, yeah, somewhere. You never really know. I've been getting It's really weird. Jim at theaverageguy.tv, which I use for the email address here, just for
Mhm.
podcasts. I only say it there. I don't use it for anything but podcasting. Somehow, well, I signed up for a few podcasting services.
Right.
They definitely sold them. Like it,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden I started getting like, hey, all kinds of news. I'm getting all kinds of press releases. You
Yeah.
must get
Special offers.
thousands of those. Come check out our right. Come, hey, we're releasing this. Do you just get bombarded with those every day?
I do, and because I worked in journalism and sort of mainstream media for so long, I think I'm on a lot of lists.
Yeah,
So I get a ton of pitches, and, people can reach out to me through YouTube. So I get
yeah.
a lot of Amazon sellers will reach out and want to know if I'll review their product and stuff. So yeah, I do get a lot of email. I have someone to help me with my email now because it's
Hmm.
kind of a crazy volume.
For sure. Uncle Marv says it's China. They probably already had your phone number. He says it's
Uh-oh.
dollar store might be a better value, at least here in the United States. Do you guys have dollar store in
We
Canada? Have
do.
we? Okay,
It's a $5 store, but
okay.
yes.
You turned that joke around on me. Nicely done. Very well. Very well done. Well, let's dig into some tech. You have recently spent a little time reviewing a Chromebook Plus, and I so desperately want to live in a Chromebook environment or have one. I've thought about that. I can just never pull the trigger. It's is 2023 a time I buy a Chromebook? Or talk a little bit about the review, the Asus Chromebook CX34.
Yeah. So Chromebook Plus, I would almost put in a different class
Okay.
of laptop from a traditional Chromebook. Um, Google and some of the manufacturers that they've approved to manufacture the Chromebook Plus. They've added a lot to it. I'm going to try and remember this off the top of my head, but they've doubled the memory. They've doubled the speed and the processing power. There were 3 or 4 things on the Chromebook Plus lineup that they literally doubled.
So better
S
hardware.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot better hardware, a lot better speed. It's just gonna be a faster and sharper machine now. And I know that's when I last reviewed a Chromebook, I think that was, gosh, it was possibly almost 8 or 10 years ago. But they could really bog down. That was again something that Google said they weren't supposed to do, but my experience and other
Yeah.
people I
Yeah.
know, it's what
They
happened.
were like
So
netbooks. They were on the Windows version of netbooks, and they were just kind of low price, but for
yeah.
consumer, especially for the prosumer, just underpowered, right?
Yeah, exact that's a good way to put it, underpowered.
Yeah.
So, I think what Google's been doing is listening to what consumers have been saying about the Chromebooks and sitting down with their engineers and saying, "Okay, let's fix this stuff." So, they sort of I went to the press briefing in New York City and got to sit in and listen to, the changes they made and why they made these changes and what they decided to do. And I left really impressed actually that they've been hearing what people actually want to use these machines for and have tried to make a better machine that's going to be a lot more valuable while still keeping it in that lower tier price range, because that was the other thing about Chromebooks. I know for educational systems and schools, Chromebooks are in a lot of cases all that they can afford to use for students. So they really wanted to keep that lower price tier, and they did. I think the Asus Chromebook was about just under $400.
Well,
With
for
okay,
US on Amazon, the link from your site, 439
yeah,
is what they have it at. Yep.
okay. So I mean that's still pretty reasonable for a laptop.
Hmm.
But the other thing they did with this Plus lineup is they've kind of gone all in on AI. So they've given you access to Adobe's whole new suite of AI, like photo editing, and there's going to be a whole bunch of new things that were supposed to come out this later this fall towards the winter, that I hadn't had a chance to try out yet. But there's things like AI writing help and AI like calendar management, and they were giving us a demo at this briefing that sort of shows all the things that you can just ask your laptop to do for you, and it'll generate a packing list. You can say check the weather and then tell me what to pack
Oh.
for my long weekend in Miami, and it'll generate a packing list for you. So just like clever and smart things like that. So the other really cool features that I liked were the photo editing features that they had. So some of the photo editing features, I'm thinking like magic eraser, where you can more easily remove things you don't want in a photo or unblur things like that. Those are now available in the Chromebook, which is huge. They've got these great video calling enhancements, which improve your appearance. They give you um, controls at the system level for your video calls. So that was actually something I thought was smart, is because when we're all on Zoom calls or, a Teams call or whatever system we're all using, everybody's looking for the controls and I'm on mute. Sorry, I don't know where the control is. We've all been on those conference calls, right? So the Chromebook Plus puts those controls at the system level, so in your taskbar. So whatever platform you're on, you can access the controls for your video call right on the taskbar,
Mm.
which I think is so smart because now we don't
Hmm.
all have to go hunting for that. So
Right.
that was
Right.
just a really smart and practical use.
Does it? Can you do Teams or Zoom integrations on these? Will it work with applications like that?
Yeah, I think I didn't check all of them, but it worked on I tried it with Zoom and it worked on Zoom, and there was one other one. I think it was Google Meet, of course. Will do it. Um they did say it was supposed to work with pretty much every system. I know if some of them are more proprietary, maybe not,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
ones I tried it with
Yeah. Yeah.
did work and worked well.
You mentioned in your review 10 years of updates, and That's a lot. 10 years is, although Windows has, you think they always say 5 or 6 and they've
Yeah.
gone 10. They've gone a long time. Do you believe Google? They've released things and then pulled them back. Do you believe them?
True, I do. They got a lot of bad press. I think it was earlier this spring, when all these school boards had bought sort of discount overstock Chromebooks and then found out they were gonna get bricked, like, 2 or 3 years into after having bought them. So, I mean, as you can imagine, a school board with a fixed budget, can't just be splashing out on new laptops every 2 or 3 years. So, they got a lot of flack for that. So, they really want people to, I think, trust that they're gonna be
Mhm.
there for you. I don't know if a lot of people keep their laptops for
10
that
years?
long.
Yeah, it's a long time. Did you get the feeling the hardware would last 10 years? I mean, traditionally these have not been super solid, pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
Did they feel a little more solid to you as you held them?
They do. I got to bring one home and try it out here and kind of carry it around and use it as I would. And I mean, it certainly feels a little lighter and, there's a little more, I think it's plastic or aluminum than
Mhm.
you would find on something like a MacBook Pro. But again, these are different machines in a different price category. So it didn't feel cheap to me.
Okay.
Will the hardware last as long as the software updates? Will you get a decade out of your Chromebook Plus? Have to wait and see. I don't know, but it didn't feel cheap to me when I was
Okay.
using it.
Any additional, subscription costs out of the box with them? Am I paying, you mentioned Adobe, and all of a sudden, I mean, that's like the old days, and
Yeah.
my viewers from a long time ago will know whenever I said Drobo, they would put dollar signs in the chat, you know? You say Adobe and you think, "Oh
Yeah.
boy, there's $59 gone forever."
Right.
Um
Well, there is a catch with that then. So some of the Adobe system software that you're getting is
Mhm,
it's cloud-based. So you're not getting Photoshop because the Chromebook Plus is not big enough to hold all of the
mhm, yeah,
the software that you need anyway. So it's special sort of online versions. I think they call them web, like Adobe Web or something.
okay, okay.
So you're getting kind of a not quite full service version of the software that does operate in your browser. So it's not the same as Photoshop, but for having all of that included for the price you're paying in the laptop, it's actually pretty good.
Brian in the chat says some of the benefits of the Apple products are how their products work so well together in an ecosystem. Do these newer beefed up Chromebooks push working well with other Google hardware? We're going to talk about the a watch here in a second, but do you get that sense? I don't know of any. I'm having a hard time thinking of what else would be in that ecosystem. But any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess I mean your Pixel phone if you wanted
Yep.
to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
not to invoke Apple on a Google phone, but if you wanted to
Yeah.
airdrop something from your Pixel phone to your Chromebook Plus, that's a great question, actually. I didn't try
Yeah.
that during my review period. I probably should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll have to give that a try.
Okay. Sarah, my wife, just picked up a brand new Pixel 8 and she's got the standard version of it, but she was pretty excited about it. And it was one of those, it was really weird because usually she makes me do the tech purchases. And she must have been comfortable enough. One night she said, "Oh, by the way, I bought the Pixel 8." I was, I felt cheated on. I was like, what? What? What?
You
Wait.
didn't even talk to me?
We could talk about it on the show, but yeah, she just picked one up. She's traveling for the weekend, so she was loading stuff up last night. It was interesting because she was saying, "This is so great how I can transfer the information from." She had a Pixel 6. How I can take it
Mhm.
from the Pixel 6 to the Pixel 8. I just put the two next to each other and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Google's the only one. And I was like, no, Apple does that as well. Settle down there,
And
you
you
know.
can't even do them from Apple to Google and vice
You,
versa if
you
you
can.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
last time I set up I think it was the Pixel 8 actually.
Okay.
There's an option now. I think you have to hard connect it.
Okay.
And it's kind of limited into what it'll move.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Whatever's
you can get some of
open.
that. Yeah.
whatever's open on both platforms to be able to
Yeah.
go.
Your
So yeah,
contacts, your calendar, and
I
things like that.
I have not even touched that. Like I said, I'm telling you, I feel cheated on. She took the phone. I haven't even held it yet. She had the blue gloves on last night and was putting the screen
Ooh.
protector on there. And either I taught her well or she's found a new love. Nathaniel says Teams works fine on the web version. Bob
Good, good.
says Microsoft has a full suite of Office 365 apps, including Teams for the Chrome platform. That would work as well too. And the Office
Right,
apps are pretty
yes.
good, right? In that space, especially the web apps are pretty
Mhm.
good. So John says I did the same thing, Pixel 6 Pro to the Pixel 6 8 Pro. I'm on the second year upgrade cycle. So yeah, I never in a million years thought she would be the Android person and I would be the iPhone person. But
Right.
that's kind of using a Mac Mini and some of those other things. That's kind of where we landed. Um, would you recommend, like, where in the world does this Chromebook fit in? Is this a play really just for better hardware for schools, or could this?
Mm.
Oh, I'm sorry. The apparently the
Oh,
thumbs up is working.
you got the
In
Apple gestures. Yes.
yeah, here in StreamYard, isn't that's kind of cool. It
I had to
doesn't
do a
do the
video
hand
about
raise
that, Jim.
though. The
What's the
hand
other one?
no, this I think
No.
it's
Oh,
peace.
this one, right.
Is it peace science? There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, we did this on Ask the Podcast Coach on Saturday. Just yeah, it's
I
something.
did have to do a video about that because my husband was on a conference call after having updated his MacBook and, having a serious business call and, closed a deal. So he was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And, or whatever he did. And all of a sudden he said there's fireworks going off or
Yeah.
something, or
Yeah.
like bubbles and things. And he was so embarrassed because he's like, I don't know what's happening.
They just do it
So we
for
looked it
you.
up.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think a
And you have to turn those off,
single piece is balloons. And
right?
then if you do a double piece sign, I got to get that where the camera can see it.
Fireworks, I
No, I
think.
think confetti comes down
Oh,
from the.
confetti.
There you go. And
And then there's
balloons.
thumbs up and thumbs
Oh, there's a
down to
thumbs
give you
down.
bubbles. Oh, there's a thumbs
Oh,
down.
okay. What else? Not planned.
And
None of this was planned, but what else?
there was at least one more. Something gives you fireworks.
No.
I wanted there to be like
Yeah.
and do the
Yeah,
your head's
like,
exploding,
and then
but sadly
it
no.
would do some crazy stuff. Brian says in the chat, get us back on track. Seems to be getting easier to hold off multi-years on upgrading devices between being well made and more incremental improvements year over year. Yeah,
Agreed.
I have an iPhone 12 and we're on 15, right? And the
Mhm.
15s just came out. And I seriously looked into it, put all the trade-in stuff in, was ready to
Yeah.
pull the trigger. I think I was going to pay 700, 600, $700
Yeah.
probably for the new one. And I went, my 12 is still working pretty well. Why would, I had that, maybe I'll just run this thing to dust. And they weren't giving me as much on the trade-in as I've gotten in years past.
Mm.
So I was kind of like, maybe I'll run this thing to dust and then just buy, knowing I'm going to have to buy $1,000 phone
Yeah.
at
At
some
some
point.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But you're right, the upgrades do feel really incremental now. I think we're at least 10 years on from a company that can really surprise and dazzle people with something that comes in on a phone now. I'm on the iPhone 13 and
mhm.
I'm with you, Jim. I kind of looked at the 15 and thought, this would be great. Like I'll review it and, it's for work. So why don't I get it? But the 13 works great. I'm pretty happy with it. And, I'm also conscious of that. Like maybe the 16 will be the really exciting one that I'm
Yeah.
gonna wish I waited for. So I'm kind of holding out. I think I'll wait for the next one, but we'll see.
Producer Bob reminds us it's a lot more Canadian dollars for the 15, right?
So many more
And so,
dollars.
yeah, so many.
It's like a mortgage payment.
Well, it's getting there these days. Tony says iPhone is the only phone that has a decent trade-in. Best Buy
That's
offered
true.
less than 300 for my
Oh, wow.
$1,900 Z Fold 4. So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
well,
interesting. I didn't know Best Buy did trade-ins either. I usually just take my iPhone back to Apple.
Mhm.
Get the
Yeah.
credit, but
Well, and it's some like all of our Best Buys have closed here in Omaha for the most part. You can't.
really?
Yeah, we're
Huh.
one of those markets, like, we're the first ones when things start getting tight, like, think of, like,
Right.
Tulsa and Omaha and, Indianapolis. Some of those markets, they shut those, like, those are the they go first. And
Okay.
it's always a sign, when, CompUSA way back in the day was starting to go under, ours were gone. Like, they
Right.
just
Radio
poof, closed
Shack.
the door. Yeah,
Did you guys have Radio Shack?
we did. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Radio Shack, the Shack, I think, as
The
they were calling it
Shack.
by the end. Um, well, let's talk about that pairing of that. You looked at, a Google Pixel Watch 2. What would you think of that?
I'll tell you what I think of it. I have an iPhone. I'm wearing the Google Pixel Watch. The Pixel Watch does not work with the iPhone. I'm still wearing it. I won't take it off. I love it as a watch.
Wow.
It's completely useless with my iPhone, but it's a fantastic enough watch and it's got a few features that I really like and I really love the design. So I wear it instead of my Apple Watch, which just sits over here on its charger and
Wow.
looks kind of sad and lonely
Man,
by itself.
I feel sorry for you out. You just out. You're
Bye,
out.
Apple.
Apple Watch. Well, okay, so yeah, what's doing it for you then? What's the difference?
Primarily the battery life. So
Mm,
the Apple Watch for the last couple of generations has been really poor battery life, and they have just not made any measurable improvements in the battery life. So I think the Apple Watch I have is the 5,
okay.
and I just keep waiting for them to give me a watch that can get sort of more than a day or
Yeah,
8
yeah,
hours. Like I only
yeah.
will get about 8 or 10 hours out of that Apple Watch
Really?
battery now. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
So I think they deprecate really quickly. Um, so I mean, the Apple Watch is great. If you have an iPhone and you want a watch, I mean, we were talking earlier about the seamlessness of that whole
Mhm,
experience. I
mhm,
mean, it just
mhm.
works. You can get your phone calls, you can respond to texts, you can do everything. It syncs with your calendar. But I can't justify a new Apple Watch until they do better on the battery. So when I got the Pixel 2 watch in to try out, I used it with the Pixel 8 smartphone that I had also for review, and I love it. I think the design is fantastic. One of the big pluses for me about that watch is that it's got Fitbit integration. So Google
Oh,
bought Fitbit a couple of years ago now, I think it was, and so all of the Fitbit benefits and features that were included in things like those Fitbit trackers or, the Fitbit Sense smartwatch or trying to think Fitbit Lux, some of those activity monitors. They're all in the Pixel Watch. So I get my steps counted, I get my sleep tracked, which the iPhone has also been miserable at for many, many years. So I really like the watch. I think it's comfortable. The battery lasts about 28 hours, I think I was getting out of it. So just over a full day, whereas my Apple Watch was only really giving me 8 or 10 hours, like I said. So I love it. It's fast, it's responsive, it's customizable, it's just a really nice design and it integrates really well with the Pixel phone.
and I imagine feature parity as far as we think about the apps. There's probably plenty of sleep apps on the in the, Android, probably even some of the same ones, right? They developed the app for
Mhm.
both the Apple Watch
Right.
and for the Pixel Watch. Um, Interesting you say that. So I'm on Gen 4. I've had my watch off of the charger since this morning. Probably I
Mhm.
pick it up probably at 7, and I'm still at 57%.
Oh,
So
that's pretty good for you.
we're what,
Maybe I
12
got a lemon.
we're 12 or 13 hours into it, and I could probably go another. But okay, let's be real for a second. You really need either like 16 or 32,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter. Well, I guess if you're going to wear it, it matters. Wear it at bed, it matters, right?
Right.
Because you want a full 24, and then it really needs to be, at that point, it really needs to be more than 24 because you don't want to diet in the middle of the night. So it needs to be
Right.
32
Yeah.
hours, right? So you have time to wake up, throw it on a charger, take a shower, right? Do or at some point in time, I've heard of folks saying, "Well, when I sit at the desk, I pull it off in the evenings or whatever and charge it in
Yeah.
that way." What are your charging routines? How do you now that you're wearing that, I'm assuming full time, what are your
Yes.
charging routines?
I've gotten used to when I come into the office, the home office in the morning, I'll sit down and sort of get organized and I'll put my Pixel 2 watch down on the charger for, 20 minutes or so. Um, but I want a watch that lasts a week. Like I'm greedy,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I know it's possible because all of the
Right.
Fitbit devices that I've reviewed, I would say in the last 6 or 8 years,
Yeah.
all last between 5 and 7 days. So I know a small but really powerful battery is possible, and I'm
But
still a little choked that more companies can't do more to deliver that.
don't you think it's the screen though? I mean, it's the screen that's
For
eating up
sure.
all right? And so the
Everybody
Fitbit
wants the
design.
always on display.
Yeah, Sarah was I was telling you in the pre-show, my wife is totally nesting at the moment. She's now working from home, so she's going through everything, and I things keep showing up on my desk. It's like technology stuff of like, "Hey, here's a video camera I was using, but I'm no longer using." Or she brought a Fitbit in. I think I'd given that to her like 6 years ago to try and never saw it again. But think about those. Those were a little slim. They were
Mhm. Bracelet
pretty
like, yeah.
yeah, bracelet-like, very, Spartan sorry, I keep doing the thumbs up there. Spartanish, displays, not meant as we're looking at your review on screen here, I mean, it's an Apple Watch, it's just round instead of being square, and
True.
that's gotta hurt battery life, right?
Yeah. I think you can, like most smartwatches, I think these days you can turn the screen off, but to me that's half the reason of wearing a
Yeah,
watch is so that
yeah,
you can, glance down and you don't have to do the whole bring your arm all the way up and tilt it so that it knows you want to look at it,
right,
which you do have to do with some Fitbits and
yeah.
even my Apple Watch sometimes.
Yeah,
But
no, that's I have mine on that. Maybe that's why I get such a good battery life is because I have it set to the it's not always on.
right.
I need to
Yes, that's
bring it up.
probably true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to bring it up.
I
Um,
I like using my smartwatches when I sleep because I like them to track my sleep. So that was kind of one of the annoyances of the Apple Watch was the suggestion that well overnight is a great time to charge it. Put it on one of these special docks and it'll display like an alarm clock and I thought, well, I mean it didn't really track sleep anyway, but
right.
I thought I don't want to take the watch off at night because I want to use some of those sleep tracking benefits. So um I don't mind wearing a smartwatch to bed either. I know it bothers some people, but it doesn't bother me. And I mean, that goes for both the Apple Watch and the Pixel 2 watch, but they're pretty comfortable and the silicone bands aren't, itchy or
Yeah,
sweaty. So
yeah.
I think it's good.
I've thought of wearing Apple during the day and a Fitbit at night. Like that has been, so then I wake up in the morning, pull the Fitbit off, put it on the charger,
Yeah.
take a shower, go downstairs. I have a routine, come downstairs, grab my Apple Watch, throw that on, log into it, put the password or put the pin in. And like that's a schedule I could get used to, I could keep, would seem to be using the best because I think the Fitbit is better at sleep than
Yes.
the i
Definitely.
than the Apple Watch, right?
Yeah.
It's really good at that. I noticed in your video, which we'll post the link to it here, theaverageguy.tv/HGG591 if you want to get to the show notes. I noticed it has some blood oxygen tracking and some of those
Mhm.
other kinds of things. 2 weeks ago, I did a health update, and I admitted I have a blood ox monitor that we keep
Oh,
on the
yeah.
table for, like, we have a blood pressure cuff that we keep at the table, the dinner table, and we challenge each other to see who can get the
Who's
lowest or
more
the
zen?
highest. Yeah, like, "Okay, breathe, breathe," kind of thing. Do you find yourself checking those? Like, this has got the AFib monitor on it. I did it a
Yeah.
couple times when I first got it, and I'm like, "Well, I don't have an AFib, so I'm good." Right? Do you find yourself using those features at all?
I do, yeah. And for the most part, they're tied in through Fitbit on the Pixel Watch. But I do like knowing that stuff, and I think it's, knowing your heart rate and stuff is almost more important if you're working out or
Yeah.
trying to get your heart rate up for weight loss or cardio or whatever. Um, but no, I think it's good to know some of that stuff. On the flip side, though, there's so much data you can get from a watch these days
Yeah.
that I think most of it is lost on most people.
Mhm.
I found the blood oxygen really helpful through COVID. That was supposed to be one of the indicators of if you might be coming down with
Yep.
COVID.
That's why we
So
got one. That's why we got it. Yeah.
yeah, and I found it was helpful. I actually did get COVID, and my husband was very concerned, and I said, "No, no, no, it's okay. I've got the blood oxygen monitor, and it says I'm still at like 98% or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if that starts to slip, we'll be concerned and, consult a doctor. But look, the watch says I'm healthy, so it's fine.
The watch says I'm
The
healthy.
watch says I'm healthy.
So says the watch. Well,
That's
and
right.
Tony had said out in chat, let's see if I can find it. Oh, he says, I almost fell into a ravine the other day flying my drone. Apple Watch Ultra started screaming at me and started to call 911, right? You've fallen. Do we need to? It's almost like
Yeah.
OnStar from that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
And the Pixel Watch has that too. There's all kinds of really cool emergency features. And I think with both of them, you can name a contact. And if you don't respond after a certain time, it'll call your emergency contact or 911 and stuff. I think that's actually really good for seniors if you've got
Yeah.
older parents or someone you want to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Gives you a bit of peace of mind.
They would never know how to use the watch though. That's the thing. You would put them on it and they would be like, this thing, I hate this thing. Never tell. I just want to tell the time. And you know how that works.
Yes,
You know how that
I
works.
do.
Brian in chat says, I'm a few model years old on my Apple Watch using a Series 6. Doesn't hold the charge as long as it used to. So kind of confirming. I'm kind of wondering maybe at the Model 5 if it began to get a little sketchy because the
Mm.
4 has been just rock solid for it's a 4. I mean, I've had this watch for a
Yeah.
long time, right? Well, long relative to how things,
Right.
I paid as much. I never,
Long in tech
never
years.
listen, there've always been expensive watches. I never would have paid this for a Swatch watch or a Swiss made watch. I would have been like,
Yep.
what? Timex is fine.
Timex.
But then these things come out and I'm like, $500? Sure, I'll give you my money. Right. Yeah. Yeah. But Brian says, but I found out using a portable charger in the middle of the day has helped.
Mhm.
So having one, well, and that's the kind of thing you can buy various chargers, have them in various spots for you, right?
Yep.
But you shouldn't have
That's
to.
the
I'm
thing
with you.
that's
I'm with you.
exactly what I'm saying. Companies need to do better. Apple needs to do better. Google can do better because they own Fitbit, and I know Fitbit's done better. So I think we need a watch that's going to last 3 or 4 days. Maybe we were talking about there hasn't been many big innovations. Maybe that'll be the next thing is an Apple Watch or a Pixel Watch that lasts a full week. That would blow my mind. I would pay money, Canadian dollars for that.
To go from a day to a week that's a big percentage increase. What about 3 days? Would you if you got 3 days out of it, would that be enough?
I could be
big jump.
convinced.
Big jump to a week.
For what I have now, it would actually be a significant improvement.
Yeah.
But I still think we can do better.
Okay. What's the price on the Pixel? What just as you think
Ooh,
generally?
good
Does it
question.
compare with the Apple Watch or
I think it does. Yes. I did not take note of the price. Do you have the article there,
I
Jim?
do have the article. We'll bring it up. Is
It
it
should be down at the bottom of the
down at the very
page.
bottom? Okay, we'll scroll down here.
Yeah.
$399?
There we go.
Oh, here we go.
$349 US.
Yep, for the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi
Mhm.
Bluetooth. I'll be honest, I'm not even sure since I went T-Mobile, I was Sprint when I bought this watch. We've since Sprint got consumed by T-Mobile here in the United States. No more Sprint.
Okay.
I'm not sure I have a cellular plan. I'm paying for it. I'm not sure my watch is actually using it. Like I think I was
Oh.
supposed to go in and have a SIM replacement or something like that. Now the phone
Right.
switched over. They sent us kits for the phones.
Yeah.
So the phone switched over just fine. I don't think my watch switched over. I think it's not on cellular, which I'm paying for every week or
I was
every
gonna
month.
say, I hope you're not paying for it.
Well, it's $10. It's not terrible. And listen, 100% of the time, my phone is with me. and it's paired. The Apple Watch is paired with the phone. Almost don't know it. This is how I've gotten this far. Where I was the other day, I was somewhere and I didn't have my phone with me, and I tried doing something on my watch, and then I was like, it didn't work,
Ah,
or it was really
right.
slow. And even in the yard, it connects to the Wi-Fi. So like I
Oh,
never
yeah.
notice it when I'm at home. And at work, I connect to the work Wi-Fi. I've set that up so I would never know there. So I was somewhere and I was going to do something and I couldn't do it. And I checked the
Huh.
SIM. It was like, "You have no SIM." And I'm like, "Oh, so I might need to." I keep
Yep.
saying I might need to do that, but I literally that was the one time in 3 years. It's been 2 years since
Right.
we right?
Save yourself the $10, add it up, and buy a Govee corner floor lamp.
Oh, yeah. I've been using Govee, like, Govee sensors and Govee
Mhm.
some they're doing lamps and stuff like that. I can't bring that up on screen, but have you had good luck with the Govee? It seems like they're everywhere now. So you've been
They
messing with those?
Yeah, I'm a latecomer to Govee. I only kind of reviewed my first Govee light maybe 2 years ago, and that was sort of the first I had heard of it. I was really deep in the Philips Hue ecosystem for a
Yeah.
long time, and that
Yeah.
was kind of all I was interested in. But I got my first Govee light, and they blew my mind. Their lights are super easy to set up. Their app is fantastic, really easy to use. Even people who are not tech savvy could totally make the most of a Govee light. And speaking of ecosystems, they've got a really strong ecosystem where you can put all of these lights together in the app and get them all to work together. So I've reviewed a handful of Govee lights over the last year, and the latest one is Govee's floor lamp, which I think is also called corner lamp, and it might also be called Lyra in some places I've seen it. Um, but it's a fantastic little light. It's a decent price. It's a great way to get light into a dark corner, which is where we've sort of placed it in our house. And you get all kinds of color changing options. You get full white light spectrum. So if you need it as kind of a, desk light or an office light or a task light, it'll work for that too. Um, it's just a super fun light. I really, really liked it. And my husband's been trying to steal it. He wants it for his office. We put it in the living room for the review, and he's like,
Yeah.
my office is kind of dark. Maybe I could. So I might have to get him one of his own for Christmas. But great, great light. And the Govee light I reviewed right before that was called the Govee curtain light, which I kind of looked this light up. I heard about it and I thought, what is a curtain light? Like, does it attach to your curtains? What is happening here? And it's essentially like if anybody remembers those beaded curtains or beaded door, I don't know, dividers, room dividers. It's kind of like that. So it's a whole bunch of strings of lights that all work together. So it's really fun. You hang it up, you can hang it in a window, you can hang it on a wall, you can hang it in a doorway. Um, and it'll do all these like color and light patterns. So super fun for the holidays. We had it and we put it up in our window for Halloween and did a whole bunch of, like pumpkins and witches and ghosts and things in the window. So we didn't have to decorate for Halloween otherwise. So
Mm.
it was fantastic.
Hmm.
And they've got a whole bunch of Halloween or I mean Christmas rather and holiday options. So it's kind of fun and it looks very different. It's very unique. It would be fun for anybody who's got a gaming room or like an entertainment room or a media room. Yeah, I was a huge fan of this light. I wasn't expecting to like it. I kind of thought it was a bit of a gimmick and kind of a little silly and until I tried it and then I was like, "Okay, I'm sold." Fun.
So for those only on the audio, you would kind of explain this as a blanket of lights that then's programmable. So you can go into the app, I'm assuming, choose some pre-configured options. And am I right that you can kind of program your own in
Yeah.
that as far as
And actually, a
what this looks
blanket
like?
is a really good way to describe that because that's sort of the overall effect is it creates this or like a dot matrix almost, right? Of
Yeah.
of all these
Yeah.
different lights hanging from
Yeah.
this one top wire. So yeah, there's a bunch of different presets and then you do have the ability to sort of draw your own colors or shapes or patterns or logo, whatever you want. So I I couldn't quite find something that worked for Halloween, so I ended up sort of drawing this, like, pixel pumpkin thing, and it actually looked great. Like, from the street at our house, you could totally, you could tell it was a pumpkin. It was
Yeah.
very artistic and well done, obviously. But,
How
no,
long did it
it's
take
really
you?
cool.
How long did it
Oh,
take you
just
to
a couple
design it?
minutes.
Okay, so
Oh,
not too
they
bad.
they make it so easy. No, that you
Really?
call up a grid in the app, and it sort of
Okay.
says, "Okay, what color do you want your background lights to be?" And it's almost like giving you a blank canvas, and then you just tell it, "Okay, I want orange," and you sort of draw it on this little grid of squares with your finger, and then you can change the colors, and then you just tap it, and it says "Send to light," and then it's up on your wall.
You
Pretty
can
pretty clever.
You're showing on screen, you did a little countdown then with some fireworks and oh, the bubbles.
Yep,
Does it
they've got everything covered.
do the bubbles work in this mode? They do. They
Oh,
still
there we go. Bubbles and balloons.
Oh
Oh,
gosh,
goodness.
that's just too much. That
Yep.
is too much. Well, it would be fun. I would think this could be fun for kids to you could turn the app over to them and say, "Hey, make some be appropriate." But
Yep.
but here's some things to make almost like what was the Microsoft program that was big blocks?
Oh,
Uh
connect no,
no, the chat room will tell me. Why can't I think of this? It's what I'm
I
talking
can
about.
picture them.
Yeah. So
It's
these are
ends with
big.
an X.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Gah.
the people are screaming at us in cars right now as they're listening to this. It's this. Why can't you remember
Yes.
that? Come on, chat room, help us
Meccano?
out. What?
Meccano?
No, no,
No.
no, no. This is a Microsoft bought this. They'll the chat room will come up
Okay,
with it.
yes.
But I like the this could be it's very dot matrix kind of,
Yeah.
except you get all the colors because these are the ability to change every single light
Every individual light if you
that's at
want. Yeah.
Minecraft is Bob's the winner. Well, actually, Tony was the winner first. He got it out there. Minecraft, I don't know why I could too much. 1792 is
Got it.
probably kicking in at this point.
There you go.
But okay. But let me ask you this. So you got this curtain. It's a blanket. You hang it in your window. How long does it stay up for? Do you keep it up for long periods of time? Does it move over easily so that you can get sunlight in
Right.
there? I mean, practically
Oh,
speaking,
yeah.
fun gadget, but
Yeah,
how long
yeah.
do you keep it up for?
It's interesting because you can't really tell that it's up in the window when, like, during the daylight,
Oh,
because
really?
the light strings are
Okay.
almost, like, silvery clear.
Translucent kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not I wouldn't say
Oh,
it's obvious during the day. Um, I had them moved around my house. I kind of had them inside and on a wall and, around the TV, and then we put them up in the window just before Halloween. Um, but you can hang it up in a couple different ways. It comes with these sort of hooks, so you can, almost like tack it to your wall if you want. And then there's also these sticky pads, which is what we use to put them in the window. And the sticky stuff, held it up there
mm-hmm,
quite well, and
mm-hmm.
it seemed to pop right off when I took it down. But the our neighbors are two younger girls, and they loved the lights. So every night I was trying to do something different to
Ah,
impress the neighbor
nice.
girls, right, for
Oh,
Halloween.
yeah.
So I did take it down with the intention of maybe they would find it in their closet as a little
Ah,
Christmas gift so they could
nice.
experience the joys of
Yeah.
holiday tech.
Outdoor rated? Can you hang this up outdoors, or is it only
They
did you
are
you know?
outdoor rated.
Okay,
Yeah, you have
okay,
to keep there's a controller box, like a power button on it that you're supposed to
yeah,
keep out of direct weather, but
okay,
otherwise the rest of
okay.
it is outdoor rated, yeah.
Put it inside. I'm sure you can get, like, a little box outside to lock it up
Yes,
to
exactly.
keep the weather
Yeah.
out of it. Yeah, interesting. I actually have hung up Christmas lights for the very first time in 20 years. I
Oh,
went out.
wow.
Yeah, I don't know what it was a couple years, well, 20 years ago. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I think it's because I was trying to hang them on the eaves, and that's just hard. This
It's
year
hard to
I
get them
just
straight.
stapled them to the deck and I went down, down and back. Like
That's very Clark Griswold of you.
didn't get carried away. Although as soon as I put them up, my second thought was, maybe I can go to Menards. That's our big box like hardware store. maybe I can go to Menards and get one of those trees, and I can put it in the flag. We got a flagpole
Okay.
holder. Put them in the.
Yeah.
So I haven't bought it yet, but there may be additional accessories coming.
Oh,
But this would work.
okay.
This would could You could put this in a window and program a new Christmas thing every single.
Yeah.
What's the retail on that thing?
I
You
think they're
remember?
about $200 if I remember
Okay,
correctly.
so a little
And the
bit,
other
a little
thing
bit.
that might help folks too is you can connect, I think it's up to 3 strings together.
Oh,
So like if you did want to put something sort of, across the front of your house,
yeah.
you could get a
Wow.
pretty big
You could
holiday
get
display
fancy with
going.
this thing.
Light
You
blanket.
get fancy. Plug it into your laptop and show a football game on it or something like.
Whoa! That
uh,
would be something.
Resolution wouldn't be very good, but
Well,
yeah, it's kind of worth the try. Would you do that? Would you take 3 of them, string them together, and put them on the front of your house, and then program things for?
you know what? I would,
Okay,
because
yeah,
I think a lot of people in the neighborhood know I'm the tech person. So, people would
uh-huh,
drive by and be like, "Yep, that's
yeah.
what she did."
Yeah.
So,
Well, and Bob says, "Oh no, Jim's about to discover permanently mounted multicolored LED strips." Yeah, that's kind of what this is, right? You could put those out there all year long and then program them for 4th of July. Well, okay, these are US holidays. But
yeah,
4th of July, Easter and the various Halloween like you talked about, Halloween,
yeah.
Thanksgiving for us. You
Well,
guys
not
do it a
not
month
to turn
earlier.
this into a Govee commercial, but
Yeah.
they make permanent outdoor lights now, which I did review in the spring. And they're strings of kind of little small LEDs. They're maybe 2 inches square, and they're designed to be permanently installed sort of under the
Oh.
eaves or under your soffits. They're fantastic. They're so bright, and just the way they're built, they reflect the light off the house and off the soffits. So it gives you a ton of reflective light and it really lights up the whole
Mm.
house. So if you are looking for something more permanent, I can recommend those. I quite
All
like
right.
those as well.
Retail on those? Usually what am I gonna be in if I wanted
Those were a bit more, I
to average
wanna say closer to like 250 or
a
300, but I
set
don't
maybe? Okay.
remember
Okay.
because
All
you're
right.
you're getting a lot more with them. I think the set that I got was like 100 feet or something.
Okay. Okay.
So it was pretty substantial, but I can
We're
totally vouch for the kit, the setup, the app, and how it looks in the end. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Definite
Yeah.
holiday recommendation.
Govee's got a pretty good app. They've kinda come on over the last couple years. They kinda started in doing thermostats and temperature
Mhm.
things, and they got into lighting, and they've done some kinda cool stuff. I had no idea they were getting this this sophisticated with it, and, couple curtains hanging off my deck. We have a big deck out front, faces the house. You never know. I'm not gonna do it, but it
Oh, come
sounds
on,
fun.
Jim.
It sounds
Get
fun
Govee to
anyway.
sponsor your holiday episode or
That's
something.
what
We'll
I
put you
need
in
to
a little
do.
Clark Griswold
Yeah.
outfit
That's
and
what that's really what I'd be the perfect candidate for it. Aaron, we're a few minutes over. I wanna talk about vacuums because I can't let you go. You got a few extra minutes? Are you
I
okay to?
sure do. Yes, I
Okay,
do.
let's talk about because you have reviewed. In fact, on your site, you have a link just for the vacuums that you've reviewed. And I guess the question, I'll throw that link for the if you go to techgadgetscanada.com/categories/vacuums, you should be able to remember that. Or the link will be in the show notes. You've reviewed over the last couple of years. We always kind of joke, not really, and we talk about these. Ed Sullivan bought a vacuum cleaner because you
Yes.
recommended it. Um, in all the work that you've done, like, is there one or two that really stand out for you that are keepers in all this?
Yeah. Um, there's a couple actually that I can think of. I'll preface this by saying I think robot vacuums went through a couple of phases. When they first came out, we were all so excited just to have a robot housekeeper that,
Mhm.
even if they only picked up half the dirt, it was still better than us picking up all of the dirt.
Yeah.
So we were just wowed by the technology. And then the technology improved and it got better and better. And then I think there was sort of this lull period where everything was kind of basic for a while and there weren't a whole lot of improvements. And then a couple of companies started the whole dual vacuum and mop thing. And the improvements were incremental and, the mopping was in there, but it wasn't really great. But I think we're in a new phase, I would say, within about the last year and a half or so of robot floor cleaner technology, where they're actually getting freakishly good.
Mm.
So I've got a couple that I really, really like. I'll call out the first one. I will say they've been a sponsor of my blog and the YouTube channel. So you guys can take that for what it's worth. But they don't tell me what I have to say, what I
Mhm.
can't say. And they just send me the bot and say, you run it through your tests. So that's the Ecovacs Dbot X2 OMNI. And it is a pricier robot, but you're getting a lot more with that than you are from your average floor cleaning bot, I would say. So you've got, let me think. You've got really strong suction power. I think the suction power on the Ecovacs Dbot X2 Omni is I think it's around 8,000 pascals. It's like best in the industry for sure.
I don't even know what you're
Um
saying. All of a sudden, you're a bigger vacuum geek than I am.
More suction, Jim. That's all you need to
Oh,
know. More suction.
oh, that's great.
Uh, so great suction. Scrubbing mop. So it's not just dragging like a damp rag over your floor. It's actually scrubbing stains off the floor. Um, Gosh, what else does it do? It empties itself. It refills the mopping tank. It washes the mopping pads. It dries the mopping pads so they don't get all musty
Mm,
and
wow.
nasty.
Wow.
Um, when I started reviewing the X2 Omni, I was, sort of making some notes about it as I was going through and testing. And I'd test something, I'd be like, bam! Oh my gosh, it does this. Bam! There's another thing that it does. And I actually had to make like a top 10 list of all of these kind of innovations and just really great things that it did. I was really, really impressed with it. So it's a fantastic floor cleaner if you're looking for something that's going to do a lot of work for you and not be a lot of work for you. This is probably my top pick. And I'm not saying that just because they're a sponsor. I'm saying that because I told them I wasn't sending the vacuum back, that I wanted to keep it because it
Yeah.
was that good, and I think it just works the best. So that's probably my top pick. It is pricier. I think it's about 14.99 US. Um, but for everything it does, I mean, it's a lot. So you can certainly spend less, but you're not going to get as much.
1160 actually right now, 23% off
Oh,
if you head out.
sale, Black
Is that
Friday.
a deal or what?
I'm not saying add to cart immediately, but if anybody is taking me seriously, that's probably a really good time to do that. So, wow,
8,000 PA
that's
suction, 15 millimeter
8,000
auto
pascals.
mop lift,
Yes.
Omni station with hot water mop washing, self emptying, hot air drying, auto refill, obstacle avoidance, and a camera on the thing, right? That
And a camera.
you can get in on your phone, I'm assuming, and see where it's at.
Yeah, it basically turns into a roving security camera. So you can go peek in on your pets. If you want to check if the door is ajar, you get the app out and use it like a joystick and move it around your house,
Yeah, so
and it's
you
got
can
its own
send
voice
it
assistant.
you can send it somewhere. So you can be
You
like,
can
"Hey,
send
I
it
need to
somewhere.
see this part of the house." Go there
Yeah.
and
It's also got a really cool feature, which the previous model did have, but it still blows my mind. You can go to a spot in your house, and I think they call it voice localization. So you can say, I don't want to say it too loud because it'll
yeah,
come in here, but
start cleaning.
okay, robot, come and clean this spot.
Mm.
And it'll be able to localize how far your voice is from where the robot is. So it'll come to
Stop.
where you are to clean that spot just by
Stop.
you asking.
Does it really
Right?
work? Does it
It
really
did.
work?
Yeah,
Ah,
it's
those things
fantastic.
have so much promise, and
Yeah,
then you do it, and you're thinking, "Oh, it's gonna come here," and it
yeah,
goes to the other room
yeah.
just because
I
that's
mean,
where I
it's
thought
not
I heard it.
perfect.
Yeah,
It's not on my toes perfect,
right,
but
right.
it can tell, like, the room I'm in, that it knows
Yeah,
that much. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's
Do
pretty cool.
can you so you could say, "Hey, robot, come and clean this room," and it would
Yes.
make its way in and then start
Yep.
doing the I we I'm always, because I really want to do this, but our floors just have so much stuff. We don't. I mean, we don't have a ton of square footage, and we have a ton of stuff. And it's like I'm just always afraid, like, I'm not gonna get the bang out of the buck that I want for this thing just because we don't have the square footage. And then
Mm.
my daughter said to me one time, I think I've said this publicly, she said, "Dad, the one thing you get exercise with, and you're gonna turn it over to a robot?"
Ouch.
I know, that hurtful. That's
Oh,
hurtful.
right? Ooh.
Sammy, and the audience loves Sammy, but you don't know how she hurts me behind the scenes here when we're
I think we're learning. She's been on the podcast, hasn't she?
shaming me
Mm.
for not, for not, vacuuming the house. We got some new carpet, and it's a little thicker. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
shag, but it's pretty close, and
Plush.
it's getting, yeah, it's plush. It's getting harder and harder, and I'm kinda wondering, have you, with any of these robot vacuum cleaners, have you run them up against some really dense carpet to see how they do? Do they do okay in that scenario?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a few fairly plush rugs in the house. And transitions honestly from floor to carpet or rugs can often
Okay.
be a major hang up for robot vacuums. Um, the X2 handles it extremely well. Um, they're also robots are better nowadays, many of them at sort of if they can't actually recognize and avoid the hazard, they're now better at sort of disentangling themselves. So you'll be able to see a lot of these robots that, it'll roll over a cord, but then it realizes it's tangled itself up. So it'll actually start like shimmying itself back and forth
Uh,
and it'll back off and then spin around and try and disentangle itself. So they're 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 getting freakishly smart. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think iRobot has trained its Roombas to avoid pet accidents,
Oh, yeah.
at least the solid kind. So,
Those have gotten a lot of press, right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we always talk about these, and I walk away kind of thinking, should I? And actually, the basement here would be a perfect. We have a little bit more,
Yeah.
little harder floors, a little more. It'd be kind of nice to get to clean this area from. I eat down, and I eat popcorn. I put my feet up on the desk and eat popcorn, and there's always little remnants of it left over. So I should get one. I would probably be best in that $300 to $500 range for something in the
Yeah.
basement, right? Type deal that's just vacuuming. I don't need
Yeah.
it to mop, right? I
There's
don't.
if the iRobot S9 Plus is on sale,
Okay.
I have that one down in our basement. Our basement is fully carpeted, and I hate getting kind of in and around all the furniture and
Yeah.
stuff.
uh,
So it does a really good job because it's a vacuum only, so that's all it's going to do. But it's got decent suction and excellent navigation and obstacle avoidance. So I send it out 3 times a week to go do all the carpets in the basement, and it does a fantastic job. And there's nothing more satisfying, Jim, than coming downstairs and seeing the little tracks in the carpet that it's been there and everything is tidy. And I love it.
I think that is five ninety
That's the
nine right
one.
now. Right
Oh, there you
now,
go.
40%
40%
off.
off. Wow,
Holy
look at
buckets!
that.
Save
That is
4.
that's right in your
Um,
wheelhouse, Jim.
guess I'm saving. Guess I'm saving for that one. Um, Erin, techgadgetscanada.com is your site. What are you looking forward to? Just as I before I let you go, what are you looking forward to? You got anything you want to tease that's coming up that you might be excited about?
I have 5 more robot vacuum reviews coming out in the next 2 weeks.
Your house must be super clean. Like, do
I'm
they
not gonna
fight
lie.
each other? Do you ever like do robot bot fights with vacuum
I'm
cleaners?
not
That would
gonna
be
lie. I
awesome,
have
by the way.
when I've been testing 2 at once, I'll send them out and, they will
Yeah,
bump
bump
into
into
each
each
other.
other.
But I've got 2 of iRobot's newest vacuums. I have the J5 Plus Combo, which is a new vacuum and mop, and the J9 Plus, which is, I think you would call it the more advanced version of the J5, which is also vacuum and mop. So, looking forward to finishing those off and sharing the results. And I've got 2 other ones from Roborock. Roborock's another, really great solid vacuum brand as far as I've found in my testing. Their Q Revo, which I recently reviewed, is a really great vacuum. Um, and then I've got the S8 coming, and the Q5 Plus from Roborock.
Wow. That's impressive that you can remember all
I
those
know.
things. Nice work.
It hurts my head sometimes.
Yeah, yeah,
But
no,
yeah, no, I don't know how I quite ended up reviewing all of the robot vacuums, but
well, you've
it's
done a
fun.
lot, and then
It's
eventually the vendors are like, "Hey, we gotta get on her site, like, we need fair comparisons," right? And so they begin to it I think some people think, "Wow, that'd be really cool to have all these things to test," but it's a lot of work. I mean, your reviews are pretty comprehensive. You have a video for each, you got a pros and cons, you've got a couple pages of comments on them and what they do. I mean, that's well written
yeah,
and very well done. So
thank
it
you.
can kinda you can kinda get though, after a while, you can kinda get a little bitter around this, like, not another vacuum." Right?
It the expectations do increase. There was something I reviewed fairly recently and I just thought it didn't get a great review and I had to sort of check myself and say, is am I not enjoying this experience because I know too much and my
Yeah,
expectations are so high? Or is it because it's really not a good product?
yeah, yeah,
So I think the reason that brands are willing to work with me and to have me review their product is that I try to be really fair. So I put all the vacuums through the same tests. Um, so there's no favoritism or fair play.
mhm,
Um, and I just try and really balance the pros and the cons. So something that I might find a downside might not be to someone else. So I just try and put on my old journalist hat and really just provide a balanced view for folks that lets them make their own decision. I'm
yeah.
more than happy to say in my opinion and my recommendation, yes, you should buy this or no, you should not. But I'm more than aware that people have their own reasons for making their decision. So I just like to give folks enough information to arm them to shop smart and not waste their money, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm in it for.
Well, and your videos are top quality. I like them every chance I get on both Facebook or both on Twitter and in YouTube,
You
and,
do.
you
Thank you.
just
You've
do
been
a
a great
great
supporter of
yeah,
the
you do
channel.
a great job of that, and so they're fun to watch, and you just do a great job, with it.
Thanks,
I
Jim.
would before I let you go, I would be they would come after me if I didn't ask you this question. Black Friday, like we're in prime Black Friday. In fact, I won't be doing a podcast next week because it's Thanksgiving here in the US.
Right.
Um, you got your eyes on anything? Like, are you what are you looking for?
Uh, I'm always looking for anything.
Yeah.
And because I do buy a lot of the tech that I review, if I can get it on sale, I will. I'll probably pick up a few Bluetooth speakers to review, probably some headphones. What else? I would say like if folks out there are shopping and just wondering, what's a good thing to buy right about now? A lot of home security stuff tends to go on sale if past experience is any indication. So if you have like the Ring ecosystem, which is what I use at home, it's my preferred system. And I've seen those, they're already on sale like 30 and 40% off
Yeah.
for some of
Yeah.
their devices.
Yep. Yep.
So, if you're looking for anything like that, that's smart. Headphones and speakers do tend to get marked down really steeply at this time of year. So if that's something you're looking for either yourself or as a gift, this is a really good time for that as well.
Yeah.
And oh, anything top what would I recommend for people for Christmas?
Well, you
Gotta
said
get
I think you said headphones, like, this is the time to
yep,
buy them, right? What else do you think?
headphones and speakers. Definitely smart lights.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
everybody knows I'm pretty obsessed with smart lighting. So, Govee stuff I have actually noticed is on sale quite a bit. And I mean, if you can swing it, if you've got the budget for it, a robot vacuum, we've talked about this before, Jim. It's the kind of thing where you're like, I don't know, should I buy it? Will I use
Mhm.
it?
Mhm.
If you buy one and you schedule it, you don't even have to worry about if you're going to use it or not. It's just going to do the job for
Mm-hmm,
you. And
mm-hmm.
then, like me, you come down the stairs to the carpeted area and you can see the tracks, and you're like, thank you, robot. I don't have to vacuum today.
And it says you're welcome in a creepy kind of way.
Yep.
Right. Right. Well, Erin, thank you for coming on, and thanks for being such a great guest, and thanks for just your partnership in the podcast. It's always great to have you on about once a quarter and to catch up with you. I finally got the scheduling right where we got you on right before Black Friday. Seems like the last
Yeah.
couple of years we've missed that, but thanks for all that you do, and good luck with all the, I know you're really doing a lot of great stuff out there, and so we'd encourage everyone to head out techgadgetscanada.com and get your reviews from there. Get on YouTube and like some of those videos. I mean, all those things help. So,
They
Erin,
help me keep
thanks.
making more videos that I hope everyone out there can watch, learn
Yeah.
from, and
Yeah.
enjoy.
You say that like you've said it a few times on YouTube before.
Maybe
Right?
once or twice.
Once or twice at work, I always say and hit like and subscribe because I'm contractually obligated with YouTube to say that now. What I
Right.
have to say. Erin, thanks a ton. Have a great, have a very, very Merry Christmas. We probably won't see you before then, but have a very, very, which kind of sounds weird, but it's coming up fast. Like,
I know. I can't believe it. Just a couple weeks
I know.
away.
You guys already
And I
did
hope
Thanksgiving, right? Your Thanksgiving is
we
in
did. Yeah,
October. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is. Yeah.
So
So we've
Christmas.
already
Yeah.
had turkey. So enjoy yours. Enjoy your holiday
Thank
season.
you.
And I
Thank
hope
you.
your audience has a really great holiday season as well. I always love coming on because they're so engaged and, so interested in the topics and have so much to offer in the comments as
Yeah,
well. So
they're
thanks
pretty
to your
great.
audience
So
too.
John, on the way, I'll send you out with this. John says no recommendations from Temu.
Check me next spring, John. We'll see.
Oh, Erin, I'll wrap up the show. I'll let you go. Have a great evening. Tell Roger thank you for lending you to us for the evening, and I know he got out so you could do the podcast. So thanks for
You
doing that.
betcha.
Appreciate it. All right,
Great
take
night.
care.
Thanks again,
Thanks,
Jim. See you
Erin.
soon.
Take care. Have a good one. All right, guys. As we think about wrapping this up for the evening, thanks for coming out. I know we went a little bit longer, but that's okay. Erin's super fantastic. Big thanks to Erin for coming on and for doing this. And by the way, one of the things we didn't cover, we had planned to cover. She's got and I'll put the post in the show notes. She's got a post about using the Ring doorbell. So, if you buy the Ring, then you can get a separate doorbell that does more than just when you push the button, just a doorbell. There you can program that thing to do like holiday songs and some of those kinds of things. And so check that out on her site. It's a good one. I'll have a link in the show notes if I was ready. Oh, maybe I have that up here in for our. Let's see if I've got that ready for our live audience. Chromebook review. Maybe I closed it out. Shoot. I'll throw that in the show notes for the live show. So for those coming live, thanks for coming out. Next week, no live show. It's Thanksgiving here in the United States, and so I'll be taking Thursday night off. Traditionally, we would have come back with a show with Sammy on Friday. I should probably do that. Maybe I'll talk to her about it. Maybe we'll do a Friday show. Follow me on Twitter or whatever. I'll see if in the Discord group, theaverageguy.tv/Discord, if you haven't joined that already, just to see. It would be good to catch up with her. And I forgot that we kind of do those the Friday after Thanksgiving. We kind of do those, or at least we have done those Friday shows. Not every year, but we've done some as well. Tony, I see on my watch that you're tweeting out there. Let me like that. Make sure that we're doing that. So Tony, thanks for doing that. Yeah. So off next week, and then we have a show. I've got a special guest. Hopefully he will show up here. I got a special guest for the week of the 30th, and then actually February 7th marks 13 years of Home Gadget Geeks, which is crazy. 13 years. Like it's amazing to me. For the 9 of you who've hung around live, thanks for hanging out tonight. But you think, I don't know, because surgery is scheduled for for December 4th. I don't know where I'll be on the 7th. It seems a little close, and so I'm just not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure where I'll be yet with that. So we'll play that by ear. Might be an update. Maybe we'll get Sammy on, do a health update. I have to see how I feel. So let's play the 7th by ear. And then actually the 21st, I got TJ Huddleston coming from hometech.fm. If you know Gavin Campbell, Gavin and TJ podcast together. The 28th we're off. I've got Christian rescheduled to come back on the 11th to talk about an update on Bitwarden and LastPass. We got a request from somebody in the chat room or in the Discord group to do that, or maybe it was email. Can't remember. Said, hey, could you update us on that? So Christian's going to come back in January, and then on the 25th, Bob and Ryan are going to come back and do a post CES episode. So they're going out there. They're going to be hanging out there. You don't have to go. They'll have a summary of all the great stuff that they saw there, at least gadget reviews. They know the deal. You know them. You know, they're right in this space. So Bob and Ryan will be coming on the 25th. So we got some good shows coming up. That gets us through, let's see, 92, 93, 94, 95. We're not quite to 600 yet, but we're getting pretty close. We'll get a few more scheduled in there as well. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern. Oh, I should say big thanks to Christian. I mentioned him, but big thanks to Christian. Been a big sponsor of the show from the very beginning. Web hosting and media hosting for this show. And of course, he does it at maplegrovepartners.com. Get secure, reliable, high-speed hosting from people that you know and you trust. And you know that's Christian. Check it out. If you need some hosting, why would you use anybody else? Just go to Christian. He's going to take good care of you. maplegrovepartners.com. John John says, let Sammy host while you vacuum. And that's maybe not a bad idea. Ask her some questions. She just came in. She always comes in at 8. She works on Thursdays till 8. So it'd be good to do it on Friday. She'll be off that weekend anyways, coming up. So then Brian says, thanks. Excellent show and happy Thanksgiving to all. For those of you in the United States who will celebrate Thanksgiving on Thursday, hopefully you're listening to this maybe right before it. Have a great Thanksgiving. I hope, however, whatever traditions, we just picked up an 18-pound turkey. And the last year we did the grill and the smoker. I did a 12 or 13 pounder on the grill, and we did a 12 or 13 pounder on the smoker, and the family overwhelmingly voted for the grill. I didn't see that coming. I thought the smoker would win. Not going to happen. So what's going to happen for us, bought a 18 pounder. That's going on the grill early in the morning. We'll eat around 3. Beef jerky going on the smoker in the morning with it, and we'll have both turkey. Then for the cocktails and maybe some cigars and a fire, we'll have the beef jerky. So that's what's going on at the Collison house. Sounds pretty great, right? I think so. That sounds pretty great. I'm pretty excited about it. All the kids will be over. John says good night, and I'll say good night as well. Again, don't forget, we are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at theaverageguy.tv/live. Love to have you out here as well. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for staying around. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And with that, we'll say goodbye, everybody. Brian, if you're in the Omaha area on Thanksgiving, you could probably show up. We'd probably have enough. There's a bunch of us. Listen, it's pretty nuts. Night, Uncle Marv. It's pretty nuts on Thanksgiving at the Collison house. My kids are pretty crazy, so we definitely have a good time. We made, if you guys remember, before you go, if you remember, Phil came on, my oldest, came on and talked about cherry bounce, which we made. We've made the last 2 Thanksgivings. It's gotten bigger each time. And actually the cherry bounce, so that's cherries that we put in either whiskey or rum or maybe some vodka. This year, primarily rum and whiskey. It's actually sitting in my garage. It's just right on the other side over there. I could taste some of that right now if I wanted to. We're holding off. I think we're going to put that in bottles this week, and then everybody gets their bottles back. To be honest, we'll probably drink them before everybody goes home. We'll do dinner at 3. We're done by 4. Start a fire. It gets dark at 5. And then we'll enjoy some time out there. So the kids are really looking forward to that. Tony, I know deep fried turkey, I won't do it, but you can. You're welcome to. I like mine on the grill, bacon wrapped. and just delicious. And the fried ones are good too. I like the bacon wrap version of it. So I have to talk to Sammy. Maybe we'll do Friday. See if she's open, and we'll give you guys. That'll be the last. Well, Thanksgiving. No, I got one more weekend before surgery. So we got some stuff coming up. Well, Tony, I may go with the Wise. I do. Geez, I don't know. Because Sammy's right. Like, the vacuuming is some exercise for me. Hey, how do you guys like my new? I just came today. This is this year's. Let's see. Here we go. This is this year's military apparel for Veterans Day for the NFL, and I just I dig the Chiefs. They're close by. It's super comfortable. Like, this thing is awesome. And I paid full price, which I never listen. I never pay full price for anything, and but I didn't want this thing to sell out. I saw it last week as they were wearing it for Veterans Day, and I was like, oh, I gotta have one of these. I have this one. I have the 2020 and the 2019 version, and so this is super comfortable. Super comfortable. John says deep fried turkey keeps Tony in business. That's probably true. Now, wait a minute. Actually, I didn't think about this, but we got John and Tony in the same. They actually showed up together. Thanks for doing that, guys. I've had some suspicions that you're the same person, but maybe not. Tony says they have a refurbished model on sale on their site. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I just don't. Every time I think I get to the end of one of these shows and I think, yeah, I'm going to buy one. I'm just going to buy one. And I'm thinking, you know what? I got a pretty good vacuum. I could actually just do it myself, and I get a little exercise in the process. So, and it is true, John, you did show up way before, about 10 minutes, maybe, if that's way, but you were here. I do have a record of that in the chat. You were here before Tony. So thanks. Thanks for coming out. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for being good friends to Erin, and thank you guys for coming out like you do every week, being a part of my life and being a part of what we do here. And you guys have a great Thanksgiving. I won't talk to you until we do that, unless you join me on Saturday morning for Ask the Podcast Coach. But we'll see you guys. Well, we'll see. We'll see how Friday goes. I'll go up as soon as I hit end. I'll go up and see if Sammy wants to do a Friday update, and I'll let you guys know through Discord and maybe Twitter. So thanks, friends. We'll see you next week. Well, maybe we'll see how it goes. Definitely in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.